Welcome, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness down the river of tranquility to fill the lake of life with love.
And good evening again. We've had some technical difficulties, and I'm having some people difficulties here at the moment, some human difficulties. And so we're back. We've been talking about mental health and those kind of issues. So we're actually not going to go back. I'm going to do some magic in the edit tomorrow. I think is what we're going to do. So where were we talking about when we got rudely interrupted? We're at the top 10, right? Let's do the top 10 again.
Okay.
So we're gonna go back and we're gonna start about the top 10 most common mental health issues. And if you didn't see that, you can go and watch the video I'm uploading it later. And it'll make more sense. But we just talked about the importance of your mental health, the importance of focusing on it, and how long of a journey it is, and how, in short, if you focus on your emotional health and work on your emotional issues, you may be able to prevent some long-term mental health issues. And counseling is becoming more and more accepted, especially by the younger generations. People younger than us and younger are much more accepting of counseling than people older than us, which make kind of sense, right?
Well, they grew up with it, yeah.
Yeah, they've grown up with it being normalized and people being willing to able to talk about it. Okay, so we don't know if these are in order or not. So they just gave us the top 10. They didn't say if they're in orders. So anxiety disorder is one of the top 10.
Okay, and that's a group. Social anxiety, phobias about certain things, generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, and agoraphobia.
Yeah, and what you feel is you feel exceedingly worried and kind of about things that are nonsense, that make no sense. And they make no sense. And, they called it a disorder because, that's why it's called a disorder. If it made sense, it wouldn't be called a disorder. It'd be called logic. And so that's kind of what happens. And ultimately, what people see, what the average person who doesn't experience anxiety disorders, is they see the panic attack, right? They see the person having a panic attack, having that meltdown. They don't understand how long of a journey it was before you get to there and how difficult it is to recover from that. We've seen it. There's times where I have such a panic attack, such an anxiety attack, where I couldn't talk for a week? A couple weeks?
Couple days.
Was it?
Yeah, but
it seemed like forever.
No, it was a couple days.
It seemed like forever, but it did happen a couple times.
Yes.
And that was part anxiety, part, I think, after the concussion too, wasn't it? Was that before the concussion?
It was before the concussion.
See, I don't remember. This whole concussion screwed with my sense of timing. I don't know where anything is on my timeline anymore. I just have to accept it. I have no clue. No, I thought that was after. Okay, so another one is bipolar affective disorder.
Yes.
Sometimes known as manic depression.
I experienced bipolar. It's a roller coaster, but my meds are working, knock on wood, so I don't have the constant cycle within a day, like within an hour, cycling from manic to depression. It's exhausting.
Yeah, and so if you can deal with that, and a lot of bipolar is just medication. I don't know if there's counseling that can actually deal with bipolar. I think modern medicine is a wonderful thing. Now, counseling can help you deal with the emotional impacts of bipolar, and how you respond to it, but it can't deal with the bipolar itself. So you need medical intervention for that. Okay. Depression, it's a pervasive mood disorder. Right? I think we all talk about clinical depression. We all kind of have the stereotypical picture of the person who can't get out of bed, doesn't want to take care of themselves.
Yes.
but it manifests itself in many ways.
Yes, it does. It can just be a feeling of less joy in your life, not being able to feel as much joy.
You can be something that's not being able to make a decision one way or another, right? And so you can't decide, what do you want to eat? You don't know. And it's because you don't know. You don't care enough to know. Or you just, you can't make it. And so then it becomes difficult to eat because you just don't care. And in the extremes, it becomes the thoughts of suicide or self-harm, or in some cases, a little less extremes, those were the people who just kind of drop off the face of the earth. They just kind of run away from life and go off to become someone else somewhere else. And it just starts their cycle over again. So, that's how you end up with a lot of our, the long-term homeless is they just went off to become somewhere else, somebody else, but they never dealt with their problem. And so you actually ran away from your support system. And what do? You can't function, so you run away from your support system. And, you're still going to be non-functional away from your support system.
Yes.
It's just, it's a strange way of self-suicide without actually killing yourself. And, it's sad. So let's try to, work on ourselves so we don't get there. And that's the best thing we can do. And if you have got there, we do have resources. Remember, you can mentalhealthhotline.org. Let me put the banner up again. There we go. mentalhealthhotline.org, 1-866-903-3787, and they would always like to hear from you before you are in a crisis. But if you think, should I call, you probably should. If it's a question, if you question yourself, it won't hurt. The phone call can never hurt, right? So just want to get that out there. Okay, eating disorders is, a common...
We have disassociation and dissociative disorders.
I missed those. So you got those, where you're associated from your thoughts, your feelings.
Memories, your identity.
Yeah, you're just kind of existing in the world. Then we have eating disorders. And, everybody knows anorexia or bulimia.
But binge eating is also a disorder.
Then you got paranoia, which is a common one. People, you've seen the movies. People make fun of the paranoid in the movies. It's kind of a common stereotype. Post-traumatic stress. It can be anything, actually, anything that gives you a stress. It doesn't...
Related to a car accident, assault, combat, torture, or a natural disaster.
You can actually experience from getting laid off, if it affects your, it's the impact of your emotional state, where it sends your emotional state over the edge into a mental health issue. It's kind of way I personally look at it. You got psychosis and schizophrenia, and then the OCD, which makes it really hard to exist in life if your OCD is really bad, on the extreme cases of OCD. Okay, so
We have 5 reasons why people avoid seeing a therapist.
Okay, all right, so let's cover these and then we'll move on to our questions. Okay, 5 ones. Lack of information.
So, if you know someone, if you or someone you know needs help, where do you turn? You can go to doctors, therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors. Community mental health centers are great. National Alliance on Mental Health America. University also has programs. Employee assistance programs are great, and Veterans Affairs for veterans.
I want to point out that this is actually part of the problem. You say there's a lack of information, and then you point someone towards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different resources. Where are they supposed to go?
Well, they have to choose someone.
Yeah, but the question is, how do you know who to choose? And when you're actually overloaded.
Well, we cover
No,
that.
I mean not us. I mean not us. It's we as a society actually are overloading people with so much information about therapies and counseling that it's essentially useless. It's like trying to drink from a fire hydrant. How do you do it? You can't. And so, how do you know what's the difference between a counselor and a psychologist to someone in crisis? They don't care. They just need somebody. So it's for me, for our information is just find a door, any door, whether it's the mental health hotline, where it's in there, the closest door for help, find it and go through it. It's the lack of information. It's not a lack of information. It's almost too much information. You're drowning in the sea of information. How do you know what to reach for? How do you know it's valid? And so what we should be telling people is find whatever door. Whatever door you can find. I'm not entirely sure that we're being, by throwing so much resources, so many, the variety of resources at people, that it's helpful, because there's so much information available. We don't know how to reach people with the information they need when they need it. That's the problem. Okay, pride, that's probably the number one thing. To be honest, I would actually say pride's the number one thing that keeps people away.
Yes.
Vanity, good old-fashioned vanity. Bootstrap mentality, which is part of pride. Let's be honest. I should be able to do this on my own. That's part of pride. Fear of what others think.
Biggest one, fear of what others think.
Isn't that, again, kind of pride? Some of these is going back to pride. I'm just thinking. Financial burden, that's a good one. They're afraid that it's going to cost, and it's hard to kind of navigate the freer options, the sliding scale options, that kind of thing. And so vanity is a hard one to get past, right? I can do it myself. I shouldn't need help.
Yes.
That's hard for any human being to get past. And the only way to do that is for people who have gone to counseling, who find it valuable, is to talk about it. And if we talk about it, we say it's valuable it's easy. It's not easy, but it is valuable long term. It's not a short term solution, but it is a long term answer. There is no silver bullet, but in 5, 10, 15 years, you'll be a different human being. And you'll be a human being you can't even imagine now.
You can't.
And it's got nothing to do with your imagination. It's because you don't know who the human being you are going to be in 2 years. So how do you know who the human being you're going to be in 5 years? By the time you start getting close to the person you think you want to be now, you're going to want to be a different person. You're going to have an improved version of yourself that you want to reach. And so, so your perspective of what you want to become improves, grows, evolves. You've got a better sense of yourself, of who you want to become. When you first start the journey, I just want to be able to live a normal day. That may be your goal. Just want to be able to go grocery shopping without having a panic attack. That may be a goal, right? But when you start getting close to that, next thing you know, hey, you're going to have a new goal. I want to be able to function as a normal human being, at least externally. Maybe I want to be able to come home at night and cry in the corner, but at least for the rest of the day, I want to be able to go out and function as a human being. And when you get close to that, say, no, crying in a corner isn't good enough for me anymore. I want to be able to have a somewhat normal life. And you build yourself to that. And then next thing you know, you're a person your community and friends and family can look to for advice and help. And you turn around and you go, where the heck did this come from? How did this happen? It's because you worked really hard. That's why. Because you worked really hard for a really long time, and you became somebody that people respect, and that's a wonderful journey. Okay, so what do we got tonight?
We're going to do questions?
Yep.
Okay, we're going to start with relationships.
Oh, yay, my favorite. I get to get in trouble.
I, 39 male, resent my 38 female stay-at-home wife. She's at home all day, yet she expects me to do chores. Is this fair?
Well, it kind of depends especially to do some things, sure, but it depends. Is she sitting home on the couch eating bonbons and everything's dirty and nothing's done during the day, or is she working during the day the same as you? And when you come home, you expect to do the housework together. Those are two different things, right?
Are we talking taking out the trash? Do your own dishes, mister.
Well, every relationship has their own values, their own, gifts and takes, right? We have our own, and so I wouldn't expect anybody else to follow ours. We manage ourselves, and I pay attention when you're not up in the mood for things, and I'll step in and do them. And if not, you tell me, and I'll, we've worked it out. But it really depends. Is this a Peg Bundy who's sitting on the couch all day and not doing anything? Or is this someone who's managing the house, taking care of the kids, doing everything, and just needs help because running the house is a lot of freaking work day in and day out, just like you who, look for your weekend. She doesn't necessarily get a weekend. So it depends. Are you wrong? Probably. But there is a caveat, right? There is a possibility that she's a layabout and not doing it and not pulling her weight. And maybe she's got a depression issue to be dealt with. Maybe she's not feeling good about herself. Maybe she needs to spend some time volunteering outside the house. And you're going to have to pick up and doing some more work around the house to make that possible. So, dig a little deeper. Don't build resentment. Don't let it build up. It's bad for your relationship. Okay.
I, female 25, broke up with my partner, male 27, because he didn't want a family marriage. Now he says he changed his mind. What do I do? Well, just go slow, hun. Do you still have feelings for him?
And, sometimes that is about the age men become wanting to settle down. And he may not have known he wanted to settle down until that stark choice was presented to him. Sometimes you don't know what you have until you lose it. And he may be really realizing what he has. Or he's, man-child and is afraid of being alone, and so he's going to change just for that, which means your relationship's going to have trouble. So it really kind of depends where he's at, and you're just going to have to make a judgment call, which is, follows your advice. Start the relationship over. Can't start it completely over, but you can go through the process again. See if he's actually relearning, evolving, growing as a human being, or if he's still wants to be a young 20s. But you guys are right at that age where this kind of maturity thing happens, so it's not uncommon for him to change his mind right about that time, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am not thinking about marriage, because at 25, men, you're not thinking about marriage. But at 27, men, marriage and family, it's starting to creep into their head, and so you're right at that age, and so it wouldn't be out of the realm of normalcy for him to have naturally changed his mind, because no, you know what, that kind of life actually feels better than the bar hopping and club hopping or whatever, partying with his friends, because his friends are starting to create lives and
yes,
yeah. So that's kind of what I would do. Take it slow, be careful, and see if if he's actually evolving, or if he's just afraid. That would be mine. Afraid of being alone. If he's afraid of being alone, he still has growing to do. If it's not, then maybe you have a chance at having a happy life. Okay.
Okay. My 29 male wife, 30 female, brought up the idea of stripping to earn extra cash. Since she said that I'm no longer attracted to her, how do I get over this?
Okay, so his 30-year-old wife brought up the idea of her stripping since he's no longer attracted to. She says he's. Am I getting this right?
No, she said she would strip to earn extra cash for her. Since she said that,
Okay. That's a
he's no longer attracted.
Yeah, well, you're either going to have to grow up or, deal with it. One, it's just a conversation. She hasn't actually done it. So, and I can get the fact that you're just feeling jealous at the moment. I mean, I don't know. Grow up would be my suggestion.
Well, what would you say if I wanted to strip?
Okay. If you really wanted to, knock yourself out.
Ew. No, thank you.
See, I'm not all that worried. Be like someone asking me, "Hey, I'm going to go strip." Yeah, sure, knock yourself out, honey. No one's paying you to go see dance around naked. So, it's kind of a pointless thing. I don't know. I've got the idea that there's something deeper here than this whole stripping thing, to me. There's something else going on, and this is just kind of a symptom of a bigger issue. And I don't know. Maybe they're having severe financial issues, or maybe she's feeling sexually repressed and needs to express herself, and you guys need to have a conversation with a counselor, with either a financial counselor or a marriage counselor or something of that nature. But to be my guess, there's something else. There's some other stressor that's pushing this. This is not really about the stripping thing. Be my guess. But it's for some people it's difficult, especially to kind of think of your spouse being ogled and throwing money in. Stripping thing's kind of I can get it. It's kind of it's kind of I wouldn't hold it against anybody, but I can see how someone would. So, and not everybody is as free and open-minded.
Open-minded as you are, yeah.
Yeah. So I can get why he would feel that way, but I also say if you love her, get over it. And, one, you're only talking about it, so she hasn't done it, so there's nothing to actually, lots of people talk about lots of stuff that don't happen. So, think about it that way. Okay, next.
My 20-year-old female boyfriend, 24-year-old male, is weird. I'm in nursing school. He said I won't need my nursing certificate because I will be a housewife. Is he serious?
Well, yes, but so what? You want your nursing certificate because you want your nursing certificate. And, that's the thing. Maybe you will be a housewife, maybe you won't. Doesn't sound like you want to be a housewife. It sounds like you're more into nursing than being a housewife. But, you're still 21. At 27, you may feel differently. Lots of people happen. Or maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not judging.
She can do both.
Yeah, you can actually have your nursing certificate and be a housewife.
And have children.
And have children and even be a housewife. And volunteer as a nurse at the school or something. Or work at, there's lots of things you can, that nursing degree provides for you. Other than, a career. It gives you an opportunity to, volunteer and be active in your community in other ways. So go get your nursing certificate. Whether you need it or not is not relevant. It makes you feel like a more complete, full human being, and so do that. And if he doesn't want you to be a full, complete human being, that is something to be worried about. Because the nursing, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't have anything relevance to you as a housewife. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't going to be a housewife. At 21, you have no clue. And neither does he. So prepare for your future as you see fit. And if he doesn't support that, it's time to find a new boyfriend. That's what I'm saying. Okay.
13-year-old male stole $10K out of our home safe and was giving out $100 bills at school. What is the appropriate punishment?
I don't know why I'm laughing. So he's trying to be liked at school is actually what's going on. He's trying to make himself, feel part of the crowd, feel welcome. So he's obviously feeling outside of his social group. He's not belonging. Now, what to do about that? Because now you've got two problems, right? You can't let this 10 theft and handing out $100 bills. You can't just let it slide. But you'd also have to deal with whatever issues underlying. So I don't know. Well, he's going to have to work it off somehow. Get a job, pay it off. That's just what he's going to have to do. I don't know. Good luck. That's what my suggestion on that one. No, don't keep 10 grand in cash in your safe. That's what the hell that one is. What the hell are you doing with 10 grand in your safe? That's almost proper punishment for you for keeping 10 grand in your safe. But I don't know.
That's a rough one. But in the longer version, this kid needs some counseling because he really just doesn't understand what he did. It's our money.
Well, he needs to go to boarding school. That's your punishment. Send him to boarding school, military school, something like that. Get some responsibility forced into him. My stepsister went to a boarding school because she couldn't behave herself. She almost got kicked out of a boarding school for people who couldn't behave themselves. That's like that. So, so it might be a suggestion. If they have enough cash, they have 10 grand in cash and to say you got enough money to send them off to a school for a year, reform school, something. Clearly, they've done. There's something they're not doing, or
there's something missing.
Their environment, and he needs more structure than they can provide at the moment. And so, if you got $10K in the bank in the safe, go use that on paying somebody who knows what they're doing. I don't know. I don't know. That's one of those questions where I'm glad it's not me. Sometimes being a parent sucks, and you don't know what to do until you're the one who has to deal with it, and everybody else is just going to have to say, "I'm just glad it's not me." It's the most compassionate thing I can actually come up with. And you may want to consider some kind of boarding school, reform schools. Maybe it's a mental health retreat thing, Maybe send to the Betty Ford Clinic for something, I don't know, some kind of thing like that. I don't know.
But it has to be serious and profound and rather lengthy.
And it also may want to deal with, maybe he's on the autism scale and he's really not making a connection. And he's just kind of disconnected from that kind of reality, and so you may want to look in that realm as well. There's a possibility there, but I don't know. Okay, what's next before we just kick that one to death?
Why do predatory men seem to take up jobs teens usually work, such as fast food or retail? My 15-year-old daughter is about to enter the workforce, and I'm worried. Well, I talk to my girls. Don't give out your home phone number. Just to socialize at work with these men. Socialize with your own age.
Well, the reason, just because you're an older man working at a fast food job, usually what it means is they're an alcoholic who's burned all their bridges and they're having to rebuild themselves. Or an ex-drug addict who's rebuilding themselves. That's generally how that happens. And they literally have to start back at the bottom. And what's the bottom on the economic scale? It's a fast food worker, right? It's the only job they can get. That's why they work there. It's not necessarily predatory. So, you're actually going to find more predatory human beings in places where young people feel safe. Schools are actually far more, churches, those kind of things are far more dangerous for predators hang out. They go where other people feel safe. No one feels safe at a fast food restaurant. I mean, not that kind of safe. So, right, because you expect the middle-aged guy working at the fast food restaurant who's got a history of drug addiction, has been to prison, and isn't rebuilding his life. You're kind of wary of him, right? You just kind of are. And maybe rightly so. Maybe not. Maybe he's reformed himself. But, you're kind of wary. And, and what is it? The evildoers rarely, could wear black capes and twisted mustaches. They become cloaked in good deeds and kind words. So, just be careful. But you know what? Your daughter is going to have to go out and enter the workforce. And all you can do is prepare her for the real world. And, just prepare her as best you can. And, the predatory person is less likely to be a coworker. It's more likely to be a customer anyway. So, in that sense. Okay, what's next?
Is taking away electronics until grades are above 75 a bad move?
It just won't work. Well, not long term. You might get grades above 75 for a little while, but it's just going to build resentment. Unless the kid is just about to turn themselves around anyway. But I don't know if I would personally worry more about are they learning rather than what their grades are. No one cares about your grades. I've never been asked what grades I've got in high school. When I tell high schools, I managed to graduate with less than a 50% attendance rate. That's all anybody cares about is I graduated, right? That's it. No one cares about what your grades are. So maybe you focus on, let's get him through school successfully, because he's not going to go to a major college anyway. So he's got a community college path if he was going to the community college. And so don't ruin his love of education. Help him find his love of education. And you're not going to do that by punishing him for failing or for not doing as well as you think. He's not even failing necessarily. But you're not going to punish somebody's into a love of education. It's not how it works. You need to find what he's interested in and then feed education in through that. And so if he's interested in electronics, if he's interested in video games, maybe getting him into a computer programming class where he can program video games. And he can learn math and science and English skills through that. Right? You can learn a lot of stuff through that. So find whatever he's interested in and focus his education that way. And expand his love of education through something that he's interested in, rather than punishing him to be something he's already finding a chore and struggling with. That'd be my suggestion.
That's a very good suggestion.
Okay,
kids panicking that their dad and I aren't married. We've been together 20 years. How do we reassure them?
Tell them marriage is not the piece of paper. Marriage is the commitment you've made to each other, and you've been married 20, and you've been together for 20 years. You're married. By any court in the land will say you're married. Everybody but the IRS. That's it. Oh, maybe your insurance company, depending upon the state you're in. But your health insurance company, depending upon the state you're in, and the particular health plan. But that's it, right? The piece of paper is meaningless in terms of the meaning of your marriage. It just doesn't mean anything. That's what I would explain. You don't need the government involved in your marriage to make it valid. Your marriage is valid because of how you act and how you behave and how you treat each other and the commitment you have to each other. Not the piece of paper that some third party signs and says, yeah, you're married. In the olden days, being married was you lived together and you told people you were married. Then you were married. That's how you got married. So you just told them you have a traditional marriage. That's it. You live together and you tell people you're married, so we're married. That's my solution. Okay,
we're going to cover work questions.
Okay.
A lot of people have begun to quit at my current company. I'm looking for a new opportunity myself. Does it look bad in a company that so many people are quitting?
Yes. it either means that people are unhappy to working there and looking for somebody else, or they see writing on the wall and layoffs coming, and so they're bailing before that happens. So it's either bad management or, bad management, I suppose. Layoffs are a sign of bad management. So either by hiring too many people or by not, navigating their way through the economy successfully. So it's bad management or bad management. But yes, it looks bad on the company that people are leaving. Because ask yourself, why do you want to leave? You want to leave for the same reason everybody else does. Either maybe they're not paying enough, they're expecting too much, there's no meaning, whatever whatever the reasons are, those don't look good. The company's future doesn't look good. I want to get off this sinking ship. None of those things are good. Now, sometimes there's occasions where companies are essentially design themselves to be training grounds. They take untrained people, they train them to do a job, knowing that in 3-5 years they're going to go off and take a better opportunity that pays better, and they're just designed to kind of cycle people through. And that's kind of their role in the economy. That's kind of, that's what they do. And so sometimes you get these big waves. Well, they did a big wave of hiring all at once, and so all these people kind of tend to leave all at once. So maybe it's not as bad as it might superficially look, but probably not. Okay.
Are one-way job interviews a red flag?
Generally speaking, yes, but it depends on the job. If it's kind of an entry-level job or a warehouse type job, the manual labor type job, not so much. But if it's a management job type thing, then it is. You're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you. It should be.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, maybe you're just not as good at the job interview as you think you are. Maybe that's your failure, not theirs. Look in the mirror before you point fingers. Okay.
Why do some people think undertraining coworkers provide themselves with more job security?
I don't know why they do this, because they think, well, I have the skills. If I have all the skills, then they can't fire me. But it's not true. They can always find a way. You learn the skills somebody else can. The chances are you're not so great that someone else can't do your job. I came into a place with little documentation and no, few passwords, but yet managed to get back running within a short order. Back to normal operations. No one's irreplaceable. What makes you irreplaceable is you working as a team. You being able to have teamwork and collaboration, and actually making people around you better employees makes you irreplaceable. People wanting to work with you makes you irreplaceable. You being a pain in the butt doesn't make you irreplaceable. It makes people figure out, okay, how do we replace them as soon as we can? It's counterproductive. Make yourself irreplaceable. Make yourself so valuable to a lot of people in the organization that they can't replace you. No, not that they can't. They don't want to, because you're valuable in more ways than just your job. So you become a leader, someone people turn to. That's how you become irreplaceable. Not by hoarding knowledge, by sharing it and making your people around you better. Okay, next.
My job is trying to make me work a 52-hour work week with no overtime pay. Is this legal?
Are you a salaried employee? Then yes, this can be part of your salary contract. If you're an hourly employee, no. It really kind of depends.
Okay.
If you're a salary employee, depending upon your contract, it could be. If you're not, if you're an hourly employee, gets paid by the hour, $24 an hour or whatever it is, 25, 13, 15, 7, then no, it's not. And you just tell them no. So, okay. And I got another thing. Find another job. People who want you to do that, they're not people you want to work for. If they're willing to do that to you, what are they going to do? What other corners are they cutting? What other, you don't want to work for them for long. Get out. Okay.
Okay, we're moving on to sex questions. Okay, any advice on hiding that I'm a virgin when I'm having sex for the first time? Oh, hun, you can't do that.
Yeah, don't.
Be honest, don't do that.
Because
You're missing out on a wonderful experience. You're going to remember your first time forever. Let her make it special for you.
well, it's probably going to suck the first time because they all do. But you always want to be honest. You want to start your relationships, especially your sexual ones, from a place of honesty. Right? Do you really want to have your first sexual relationship to be from a place of dishonesty? Really? That's what you want to do? That's the path you want to take that down? No. Be honest. The right person will treat it with the honor and respect it deserves. So they won't mock you for it. And if someone will, then that's not the person you want to be with anyway. So don't. That's my advice. Learn to be open and honest with uncomfortable things, and your relationship will be better off for it. And your experience will be better off for it, even though it's likely going to be over all too quickly. But the nice thing about being young is you can just do it again. Okay.
Is it okay not to go down on your male partner? Is it a deal breaker?
Well, it's okay to not want to do things. Yeah, sure, it's perfectly fine.
But don't expect him to go down on you.
Well, people have their own ways to navigate their own sexualities. It's expectations. No one should really have expectations. Going in is the problem. But is it a deal breaker? For some people it is. Some people it's not. There's no hard, fast rules. People have their own quirks. And and your relationships, especially sexual relationships, are all about, making quirks work or not. And so it's a deal breaker. You're just going to have to talk about it. That's what's going to have to happen. And yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable, but it's all right.
It'll be okay.
Yeah, you'll be all right. Okay, what's next? We got two more.
Some guy said to a woman on Facebook who was talking about being disappointed in her sex life with her husband, "It isn't my job to make you come, it's yours. As a matter of fact, the female orgasm isn't even needed for reproduction. If God doesn't care about your orgasm, neither do I." Do guys really feel this way?
Do guys feel this way? No, but do some guys feel this way? Of course. There's people who carry the spectrum. There's women who feel the same way, right? There's highly religious women who will have essentially the same attitude. It's not, out of the realm of, I want to say normal, but it's not out of the realm of experience. It just, all this is telling you is that it's not the person for you. That's all it is. Your values and your humanities don't match. And so, now the fact is, what are you going to do? She's married, so she's got to make a decision. Is that a marriage ender? Or is her husband just being, is the marriage already over? And, men just don't like to end it. Who knows? My guess is the second one. The marriage is already over, and you're just playing out the end of the show. He's just signaling he doesn't care. That's all he's just said. He didn't care. Literally just said it. He didn't care. So that's my apologies. But no, it's got nothing to do with guys. It's got to do with, that particular relationship. Okay, one more.
Last question. Is watching porn emotional cheating?
Well, no, because there's no emotion to porn. Watching porn. There's more emotion to a Facebook relationship, chat relationship, than there is to watching porn. Porn isn't an emotional. There's no emotional connection to the people on watching. There's not. Now, you may feel it's some type of cheating. Some people can feel that way. That's acceptable, right? I can understand it. But it's not emotional cheating. There's no emotion to it, right? To be emotional cheating, there has to be emotions involved. And so I could feel how people would feel, what's the word I'm looking for?
Betrayed.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see the betrayal. I could see the jealousy. I can get all that. But it's not emotional.
Oh, well, I remember the first time I found my first husband's porn. I was devastated. I'm not enough. He doesn't really love me. I'm married to a sex addict.
Yeah, well.
And now I'm like, well, what kind do you want? I can get some for you.
I know how the internet works. It's all good. But yeah, no, it's not. There's no emotion. So in order to be emotional cheating, an emotional violation of the relationship, there has to be emotions involved, right? So you may find it some type of cheating, but since there's no emotion, for the other person, even women when they watch porn, there's no emotions involved in it, right? Not really. There's no emotional.
Well, we like there to be a story with some emotion involved with the people on the screen. Yes.
Yes, but there's more emotions involved in our stories watching, I don't know, say the Red Green Show or the Epic NBC Man than there is watching a porn movie, right? You don't think, hey, I wonder what happened to that couple who was banging on the porn we watched last night. No one asked that question.
How are they doing?
I wonder what the relationship is like. Yeah, then there's no depth there. No one cares. They turn it off. So no, you may find it cheating. You may feel violated. All that stuff. Your emotions attached to the thing are valid, right? Your emotions to feeling that way can be valid. To feeling like it's some form of cheating are valid, right? Because your emotions are valid. But no, there's no emotional attachment. It's a transitory act type thing. If you get heavily invested in, say, a Lord of the Rings trilogy or a Star Trek, if you're a Trekkie, are they emotionally? They're far more emotionally attached to their thing. Is that emotional cheating? That's far more emotional cheating. They're giving far more of themselves to their little community or whatever it is than someone gives for their 10 minutes of watching porn while they have a fun night and then feel guilty about it afterwards and feel kind of base and ashamed because you're human beings. You think you're more evolved than you are, but we're not. We're still animals and act on base instincts. It's ugly. Anyway, I'm not sure how that all we got from mental health tonight, but we covered a lot tonight. I want to thank you for joining us. Thank you, Lubby, for putting tonight's show together. You can find us at latenightLove.us, and you can always send Lubby a love letter at love@latenightLove.us. You should call him a love letter instead of love letter. You can send Lubby a love letter. love@latenightLove.us. And for me and Lubby, we'll see you next week, and please remember to love everybody.
Good night.